The grand ballroom glittered with gold and arrogance. Crystal chandeliers dripped like frozen tears, and the hum of designer perfume filled the air. It was one of those charity galas where people wore their wealth louder than their conscience. In the middle of that glamour, a man stood quietly, his suit clean but modest, his shoes slightly worn, his hands calloused. His name was a single father who worked as a janitor at one of the city's elite international schools. He had come not as a guest but as a hired worker, setting up the decorations for the event. Yet fate had its own plans that evening, and then, it happened, when the lights dimmed and the elite crowd turned toward the stage, appeared the billionaire heiress of Beaumont Enterprises. With her diamond necklace shimmering under the spotlight, she held the microphone with effortless grace, her voice smooth, confident, and trained. She was born to rule rooms like this. And as she began speaking, her words dripped with authority. But then her gaze fell on Arif, standing by the corner, fixing a light. Her eyes narrowed, and an amused smirk curled her lips. "Oh, I didn't realize the staff would still be here during my speech," she said, her tone dripping with disdain. The audience chuckled politely. Then she added, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Well, at least they understand some English, right?" A faint wave of laughter rippled across the hall. Arif froze. His heart sank, his ears burned, and humiliation clawed at his chest. For a second, he wanted to disappear. But before he could turn away, his 6-year-old daughter, standing quietly near the back of the room, looked up at him, her eyes wide, confused, and hurt. And that look, that one innocent, trembling look from his daughter, changed everything. The night dragged on, but for Arif, time had stopped. Every word of mockery echoed in his head. He wasn't angry at Celeste, he was angry at himself. For not standing up. For letting his daughter see him small. The next day, as he dropped Mira at school, he noticed the same thing, the subtle judgment in people's eyes, the way parents avoided speaking to him, the way teachers smiled politely but dismissively. To them, he was just the janitor. A background presence. Invisible, but Arif wasn't always that man. Years ago, he was a literature student, fluent in English, poetry, and philosophy. He had dreams, big ones. Until his wife died during childbirth, and everything shattered. Bills, depression, and fatherhood crashed on him like a storm. He gave up his degree to work full-time, doing any job that could feed his baby girl. Over the years, his English rusted, and his confidence eroded, replaced by quiet exhaustion. Still, every night, after putting Mira to bed, he would whisper stories to her in perfect English. Fairy tales. Poems. Life lessons. And though no one knew it, Mira spoke better English than most children her age. Because of him. One rainy evening, fate turned again. The elite school where Arif worked announced a Parents' Open Day, where parents could share their professions and life experiences. Most parents were CEOs, doctors, diplomats. Arif had no intention of joining. What could a janitor say? But when Mira's teacher gently mentioned that Mira had told the class her papa speaks English like in movies, he froze. That night, Mira looked at him with hopeful eyes and said, "Papa, will you come and speak too? Please?" He wanted to say no. But her eyes, the same eyes that saw him humiliated that night, gave him strength. He couldn't let her down again. The following week, Arif stood backstage in the school auditorium, palms sweating, heart pounding. He wore his cleanest clothes. The other parents smirked when they saw him there. He could hear whispers, "Why is he here? What will he talk about? Cleaning supplies." He ignored them, and then, she appeared again. Celeste Beaumont. Dressed elegantly as ever, she was the keynote speaker. She recognized Arif immediately and smirked, whispering something to her assistant that made them both laugh. Arif's throat tightened, but this time, he didn't look away. Celeste spoke first, dazzling the audience with her practiced charm. Her words were smooth, but empty, about vision and leadership, sprinkled with rehearsed motivational quotes. The audience applauded politely. Then it was Arif's turn.